We got ready to head off the trails. I'm the cryptid huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on an incredible journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do, because we would love to have each and every one of y'all. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that kick-ass music. I always appreciate it. And you guys, please be sure to follow us on all of our social media sites at Spaced Out Radio. On Instagram, I believe it's at Spaced Out Radio Show. Don't forget, add the show at the end. Okay. Yeah, if you guys would like to follow me, I have a YouTube channel of my own. That's called The Cryptid Huntress over on YouTube. You guys be sure to go and give me a subscribe, watch my videos, share them out, like them over there too. In addition to all of my videos here on Spaced Out Radio. All right. Oh, and also you can go to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com for all of my shows from my channel, Spaced Out Radio, and the calendar of events. I'm going to be doing a couple of public events coming up, including, I think it's the week after next, July the 15th through the 18th. I am going to be along with Arkheim Ra, who's in the studio tonight. We're going to be at the Full Disclosure Now conference down in St. Pete, Florida. And I hope that some of you guys are going to be there to hang out with us. We have a great lineup of speakers, including myself and Arkheim. And we are going to have a great time. People are going to be presenting on the Secret Space program, ET contact, remote viewers. I won't be the only remote viewer there. Okay, there's going to be a couple more there. And people from all over the place. I don't even know what everybody's covering. I have no idea. Okay, but it's going to be really good. There's like 40 speakers. Okay, 40. So y'all come see us down there. And let's see, what else we got? Oh, the Space Travelers Club. If you guys would like to support Spaced Out Radio, please join our Patreon at the Space Travelers Club. Okay, just go to Patreon and type in Spaced Out Radio and you'll find it there. Okay. All right. Well, I'm back from my Dogman hunt. I know I haven't seen y'all since I went on my Dogman hunt this past week. It was just this week, but I've done shows on my channel. So my audience over on my channel has already heard about it. If you guys would like to catch up with everything that went down on that trip, y'all go over to my channel and watch Wednesday's show with Drewski of Cryptid Warfare Podcast. I was out there with him and his operators, and we went bivouacking deep into the forest of Alabama. And let me tell y'all, we had Bigfoot activity. We even encountered a petrified dragon. I know it's weird, right? I talked about that on my show last night. Y'all be sure to go check that out over on my channel. It's amazing. Okay. All right. Well, don't forget that right after this show, After Hours has a show set up for us. I think it's a premiere. Okay, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, y'all go over there and hang out with Rob G right after the show tonight. All right, let's get to our guest. We got a lot to talk about, and Arkheim just wrote a brand new book. And I have a special surprise for the audience tonight. He gave me 2 remote viewing targets. Okay, coordinate targets. And we're going to go over those tonight. Arem Raw is a starseed who was targeted for super soldier espionage mind control programs in U.S. public schools' talented and gifted program. He served at Montauk under Project Phoenix and has several alters which engage with time travel and alternate reality programs in what he believes may have been a swap alternate reality. Arkheim's alters have also worked with Notwaffen, Mars Defense Force, Solar Warden, Lunar Command, and more. His new book, Time and Space Unlimited, The Implications of Portal Technologies Explained, is available on Amazon. You can find him on his YouTube channel. That's Disclosure Now with an exclamation point over on YouTube. And he will be at the Full Disclosure Now conference coming up in about a week and a half. So you guys please help me welcome to the show my friend Arem Raw.
Thank you for having me, Jessica. Always a pleasure. Your audience as well. Always a pleasure to be with them. You have a great audience every time. So.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait till we get to go hang out at the Full Disclosure Now conference coming up. We're going to have a blast. I'm just going to put it out there.
It's going to be the first time in Florida. It's going to be hot. As a boy from the north, it's going to be new for me, but I am excited for some fun in the sun on the beach for sure.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Me too. Well, you're going to be able to premiere and present your brand new book that you just put out too. And the last time you and I talked, you were on my remote viewing show and you've given me some blind targets. And we were talking about those. And in that data, it said something about a book and to do it now, right? A book. And I don't know if that was kind of an extra sign for you to finish your book, but within a couple of weeks, your book was done.
Yeah, it did actually give me kind of a kick in the butt to get the book out there, make sure that it was ready in time for the conference. Yeah, you and I had a private conversation, and I've kind of realized that I have to. You gave me some good advice, and I realized that I need to put this at this work that I'm doing at the very front of everything else, and I've done that now, and things have been working out really well. The synchronicity has been lining up, and things have been happening wonderfully, just exactly as they should, it seems like. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, that was definitely an interesting session last time that talked about the book. And the target that I gave you has to do with the book right here. So with the cover of this book, kind of a little bit of a rhyming thing going on, I guess. This is Blucifer right here. And if any of you know about the first book that was ever released on the Montauk Project, it was written by Preston Nichols. It was called The Montauk Project, and he had the golden horse on the cover of it. And ironically enough, the same year that book came out was when Blucifer was erected, which I find very interesting. But yeah, so basically I gave you Blucifer as a target, as a remote viewing target, because I'm very interested in the symbolism of the horse, what it means. I know that some of it has to do with the chess piece and like the symbol for the PSYOPs division of the military. It's a it's a golden horse chess piece, and it says persuade, influence, change. And yeah, I'm just curious, like this Lucifer is blue. There's this one in the future that seems to be like the same one, but I don't know, but it's golden. And that's what's on the cover of the Montauk Project book by Preston Nichols. But yeah, that's kind of why I thought it would be something for you to remote view and would be an interesting target, is because I would like to know kind of what's going on with the whole horse thing. Like it's in the future, like in like the 2700s, or I feel like maybe even like further in the future than that. And it's weird because it's there almost like a religious monument or something like that. It's very bizarre. So I'm interested to learn a bit more about it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know the first thing about this horse. Okay. When you said Blucifer, when you told me what the target was, I thought you were saying Lucifer with the L without the B. And so I was really confused. I thought there was a monument to Lucifer at the Denver airport, and that wouldn't surprise me.
People kind of say that it is. I mean, it looks pretty demonic if you look at it, kind of. Its actual name is Blue Mustang. The artist called it Blue Mustang, but I mean, everybody calls it Blucifer. That's its like nickname, but that's also like its colloquial name. That's what everyone calls it. You know what I mean? That's what it's known as.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is a big gigantic sculpture. Now it's a cast fiberglass sculpture of a Mustang, and actually it has a really strange backstory to it with the guy who made it, because he ended up dying from a piece of the sculpture falling off of it.
Yeah, Blucifer killed him, and then one of his sons made sure to finish it, which is pretty wild. Yeah, it's got a very strange legacy behind it.
It does. And also it had, right before the show today, my friend Drew sent me a picture, because this is the picture that he sent actually from his vehicle. Okay, because he worked with a SWAT team back in the day. He's former military and was working on, I guess they went underneath the airport, escorting a VIP of some sort. And yeah, so he sent me that right before the show today to let me know he had been there. But this thing, it has red eyes too, like laser eyes that come out at night. I have some information on it. Maybe we should read it to the audience real quick, just like a little blurb about it. Because it was commissioned in 1992 for about $300,000 by the government there, okay, that runs the airport. That our tax money at work, right? And but it wasn't erected at the Denver International Airport until 2008. So that's a long time from the commissioning of it to actually getting being put up. But it was paid for by developers, it said, who since 1988 have been required to contribute 1% of the cost of major capital projects to the public art in the city. So that's how they funded it, is what they said. It was originally supposed to be a buffalo stampede, but it was deemed inappropriate because buffalo had been hunted near to extinction in the West. Okay, so the artist proposed that he makes a Mustang, a symbol of the West, and an early method of long distance travel. Okay, that's the backstory to this. It had nothing to do with mind control. Wink, wink. Okay. But Arkheim, I was just at the Denver airport when I went to Reno recently. And I was looking all over the place for like an Illuminati like cave entrance. And I couldn't find anything that was out of the ordinary there, just like a regular airport. But everybody talks about how everything is like so Illuminati, like esoteric and
you didn't see any of that?
Occultish. No, I didn't. I couldn't find anything. I was there for a while.
There's 2 airports there. I wonder if you went. Were you at the one that was actually in the city?
Yes, I guess so. I was at the Denver airport. So
the airport with Blucifer at it is actually technically.
So yeah, but see, I didn't go outside the airport because I was on a layover, so I missed all the good stuff.
Yeah, there's 2 airports in Denver. There's the one that has Blucifer, and then there's one that's like right in the city. I forget the name of both of them, but yeah, there's 2. So maybe you weren't at the one that has all the weird stuff going on.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, so this sculptor, this artist had a heart attack and had to have surgery on his hands throughout the time that he was making this. Okay, so I don't know if this thing was cursed, but some people say this horse is cursed. In 2006, this artist was 65 years old. He was living in New Mexico when one of the horse's 3 sections fell down on him, and it severed his leg. Okay, and he bled to death on his studio floor. So I don't know. I'm so suspicious of stuff like this these days when it comes to things like this thing is an occult symbol of some sort, right? Yeah, it's at the Denver airport.
I think that there's a good chance that was like somehow manufactured, and he was sort of more or less murdered. I mean,
a sacrifice.
Yeah, like a sacrifice, and also just make sure because he probably had information on what this horse was, why it was there. Like I don't like they're trying to act like they wanted to like the story that they're gonna put up buffaloes, but then they did this instead. That's kind of weird to me. I feel like there's more to the story than that, and I feel like maybe that's why they had to quote unquote get rid of him, right? But I'm not entirely sure on that. I don't have all the answers on that. All I know is there seems to be more to the story on this horse than like it just being like a random piece of art that just happens to be there. Like I feel like it's intentionally placed with intention behind it and reason behind it. And it's not just there like randomly. That's what I feel. That's you know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to look into and learn more about and figure out. Because like I said, in the future, there's the golden one, which I don't know if it's the same one. I know this one's fiberglass. I don't know if they like painted it or underneath it looks like it could maybe be gold. If you look at the veins and stuff like that, maybe it wears down and it looks the bronze. Maybe it looks kind of gold, even though it's not. And it's actually made out of fiberglass, but maybe you painted it like this base color first, and maybe that's why it looks gold. That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is it the exact same horse? Did they replace it with a different horse? What's the deal with this thing? Why out of hundreds of years, does this symbol survive? And like nothing on Earth looks really the same anymore. Everything's different. People don't wear like normal clothes anymore and stuff. What is it about this symbol? What does it mean? Why is it so enduring? Like I have so many questions.
Now, when you say that stood the test of time, you've done some time traveling. You've been in these programs your entire life, pretty much since you were a little kid, and you've done some time traveling. You're part of the Montauk project, Project Phoenix, a lot of different programs. And so have you seen the future?
Not this future. So because that's the whole thing is like through time corporations where they're changing the timeline. I know that we just had a shift about 3 weeks ago. Other people felt it too, and there's new Mandela effects that came with it, like new like changes, a lot of stuff that's not the same anymore. So they're always changing the future, The future that I remember interacting with the most at Montauk through Project Phoenix 2 was a future where Hillary Clinton became president and World War III happened, and the west coast of the United States got bombed by neutrino bombs. So lots of people died, but all the buildings were left standing and stuff. It was kind of like really weird, like because like these big sprawling metropolises that are basically empty, and that's kind of what I remember about that. And I think there was also a virus or something like that too. I just remember looking over LA and it being like huge and expansive, and you'd heard like some stuff like it's not that there wasn't anybody there, but this was a city that once had like millions of people, and then it became like maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. So yeah, that and it was eerie. I remember that feeling because I went to LA recently and I sat in that same spot where I overlooked it, and that's how I got the recall, is being in that same spot, and it was just like whoa, it was really heavy. But Hillary Clinton didn't become president. She's not going to become president, so that's not the timeline that we're entering. And I heard we actually just did a show with my friend Audrey Walters, who's connected to galactic court systems, things like that. And apparently, like we have decided to not enter that timeline of like AI and stuff. Like, I guess they had like a vote on it or something like that, and like some of these more powerful ET and stuff like that, and they like felt like it would be a bad thing if humanity entered that timeline. So it looks like we're not entering that timeline anyway right now because of the way that we're reacting to our reality and stuff. But if we were to enter that timeline, there would be ET that would try to come in and stop it because they don't want us to enter that timeline anymore. So the timeline that I'm talking about in the future is an alternate reality that, fortunately, if all goes well and it won't happen. It's not going to happen. But it did happen in other timelines, and we are at this kind of like spot where AI is becoming, and like it's growing, and we need to confront these issues now. And also with social media and how the internet is like taking over our lives, like there's a lot of issues that we're like confronting right now, and I think they're being confronted and they're like, it's not overnight, but I think they're being confronted in a more or less healthy manner. They're starting to be, and I think that we're not going to enter that future. So that's my opinion. But yes, I've been in alternate futures. I've seen futures of mankind, and I've seen the one where there's like a Unimatrix AI that controls all of humanity, and we're all connected to it through a neural link. And like the movie THX 1138 by George Lucas, it's his first movie. The guy who made Star Wars. I personally think that, because I think he might do remote viewing or something. I don't know how I gets the information, but it seems like all his movies are more or less kind of based on reality. He might write his own story, which is fictional, but it's based on like real stuff. Like that depiction of our future, which that's what it's supposed to be in the movie. It even it's portrayed as that. It looks so much like that future that I saw with the weird Unimatrix AI. The only difference is the people don't talk at all. There weren't like speakers or loudspeakers or anything like that. It was all done through the neural link thing in their brain, which was like false artificial telepathy through like internet. And yeah, this AI designated everything because like after World War III, or like this huge war that devastated so many people already were using AI to decide. We are already using AI as a tool to decide things. It's a powerful thing. People are realizing it already, and they're using it to organize their lives and stuff like that. It's going to get crazier and crazier, and people are going to see that. But yeah, we decided, because people are already using it, and on that level, it's really not that bad. We decided, okay, why not let an AI control all of humanity, our resources, decide what's what and what goes where, so that way we don't have another world war. Because the AI doesn't have like opinions; it's impartial. It's just gonna do what needs to be done. It's gonna think logically. So that's what ends up happening. And at first, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Like, people are able to live more comfortable lives, and yeah, it's great. But over time, it like chips away at humanity because, okay, next thing you know, we're not even talking out loud anymore. There's no like concerts with like music. The AI, everything that everyone does, it's just what the AI tells them to do. It's a real eerie future. And I do talk about it in this book. There's like a whole chapter, which I think is one of the longer ones, about that future.
Man, I tell you what, it's really eerie when you watch things like The Simpsons. Okay, and The Simpsons has, I don't know if it's predictive programming, if they're time travelers, the writers are, or, I mean, maybe all this has already been planned out and they're just putting it out there in the 1990s for stuff that's happening in the 2020s. You know, I don't know. It's weird, right?
I think that they're all involved in like the occult, and the occult being like, you know, satanic groups or all these like secret societies and stuff like that. And all of those groups are connected to like the portals and all that stuff and this black magic stuff, which is like, it's kind of interesting. Like a big part of my testimony is like the kind of like black magic, like satanic aspect, which people like to really like act like it's not literal, you know, like, but it is really connected to like the science fiction kind of aspect of things too. Like these groups that do things in secret and practice things in secret and stuff like that. Like that's like kind of how they're like the ones who have this technology and they're hoarding it, is because like they're used to keeping secrets to gain power. They're used to guarding knowledge and wisdom for themselves to use it to control others. That's what we're seeing right now. And what people like us are doing right now is kind of trying to break down this illusion and make people see all these things that they just don't want us to look at. And the more of us, the better. I feel like a lot of people are kind of waking up to that, you know?
Yeah. Well, the satanic agenda is on full display right now too, with our pop culture, with the rituals being done on stage when people are performing, even at Taylor Swift concerts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And all the like rap concerts and people like Katy Perry even, and she started off as a gospel singer. Okay, so it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and we're seeing it. It's out in the open now.
Yeah, and
And so,
I understand there's like, you know, the satanic panic aspect. Like, you know, there's people who are like, there's in my book I talk about it, like Michael Aquino is like really evil guy, like hurting kids and stuff and doing all this messed up stuff, and he got away with it. And then you have Anton LaVey, and what I try to help people understand is that Anton LaVey didn't believe in sacrificing to. There's like two different types, I guess, and the reason why Aquino left the LaVeyan form is because he didn't think they were serious enough. Like they weren't actually practicing what they're doing, and he was saying that basically like they're like a lot of them were like doing it to carry the card for cocktail parties and stuff like that. So what I try to help people understand is like you look at people like Ozzy Osbourne and stuff like that. Like I think like that guy is more like he just did it kind of like as a part of his image and is like an artistic thing. I don't know if he's actually like in their club or not. Maybe he is, but what I'm saying is like I try to help people like that satanic panic thing where they're like, I remember like they were saying like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and like Pokemon cards were like gonna like possess us, like certain my friends' parents when I was kids. So there is a real thing there where like some of them really were panicking over silly things, but that became a tool to overshadow the reality that basically there are these P files, and I use that word because it helps with the YouTube censorship,
yeah.
that were using these occult networks to traffic children. Like that's what they were doing, and it needs to be talked about more, and it needs to be shut down. And I kind of end this book even a little bit with like explaining like how it's not random that I talk about it. I bring like of the evidence of some of these cases of these military people and stuff like that who got caught red-handed, and then they just shut it down and people got killed. And to me, even though it seems kind of far removed from what I'm talking about, it's not. And especially because it has the most evidence. Like people always ask for evidence, like, oh, all this weird stuff's going on. Well, give us evidence. Look into Michael Aquino and the Presidio incident. Look into the Lincoln, Nebraska. There's a bank, Franklin Credit Union scandal. Look into that. Boys Town. There's so much different stuff that's happened where there's actually quite a bit of evidence and quite a bit of very real breadcrumbs to follow, where it's not just people talking about stuff, right? Like there's evidence, and you can see that it gets covered up and thrown away, and that this evil occult network is very powerful and obviously in control of like governments, if not the whole government of the United States, at least the government of like certain towns and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, the beautiful thing I think that I'm seeing and what I'm hearing you say right now and what I agree with is that when things are brought to the light, we can change these timelines. Okay, and I want to get in after we go over this data about the Blucifer. Okay, I want to talk about portals a little bit with you because I know that's what you cover in your book. But I'm fascinated with portals. Okay, fascinated. I know you probably walked through a few portals yourself, and so I thought we'd talk about that. But let's go over this data real quick about this horse because
Okay, sure.
I think this is I usually on my channel I don't have a time crunch, but over here at Spaced Out Radio I got time crunches. Okay, so
Let's get into it. Let's get to the nitty
let's get
gritty.
into it. Let's do it. Okay. So I did two separate targets. Now I don't even know which target is what. I don't. Are they both the horse? The two that I did. Do you remember?
Basically, one's this horse,
Okay.
Lucifer, and then the other one is, I guess, the golden horse on the cover of the Montauk project, and like basically like yeah, those are the two targets.
Okay.
And the golden one is the one that's in the future. I've seen it, so it's
Okay.
yeah, and I'm just trying to figure out like what's going on there. So it's sort of the same target, but maybe not. I'm trying to figure that out. So I think your information will help with that.
Okay. Well, let's. Okay, I'm going to pull a picture of this up while I talk. Okay. So this is the horse for the audience. If you're not familiar, if some people are just now tuning in, this is they call it Blucifer. It's a blue Mustang sculpture that is it's 32 feet high. 32 feet. That's huge. And approximately 9,000 pounds, and it sits out in front of the Denver International Airport. It has red glowing eyes. It's been there for several years, a bunch of years. But Arkheim today, Arkheim had me do a couple of targets, some coordinate. He gave me some coordinates, okay, which are just some random numbers that are associated with these targets. And this is the data. So I'm just going to read it word for word what I wrote down for this blue Lucifer. Okay, I wrote. Well, some of my sensory data was. I won't go over all of that. Okay, let me just go over some of the words I wrote down. I wrote time, elevation, Kali Yuga, Kali, cut, piece together, vocal, time warp, calculator or calculated, time frame, exact time frame, infinite, multiverse. I wrote Spider-Verse, okay, because I was seeing a multiverse, like a Spider-Man movie. I wrote down technology and AI, AI equipped, and three-dimensional. I wrote down, and I also wrote line it up, parallel universe, cutthroat death, mob ties. That was in my data. I was even writing. I got some data that involved someone being unalived actually over this. I wrote undercover, underground, below deck, militaristic, military, and operations. Okay, so that was kind of in a nutshell. Those are some of the words I wrote down for my remote viewing of that target right there. Does anything stand out, Arkheim?
Yeah, pretty much all of it. I think that it's interesting that you mentioned there being maybe a military installation there, and then also alternate realities. It sounds to me like maybe this is a place that has, and I feel like there's alters of me that know this, but I'm blocking the information. But it really resonates when I'm saying it and thinking it right now. Is that there's portals down there to alternate realities, and like not just like one or two, like quite a few to different realities that we're interacting with. That's what it sounds like, and it would make sense because for it to be connected to an airport, because it's like this place to travel, and that means that they could probably, if they pop out here in this reality, then through the airport they can get anywhere on Earth they need to get to. So that would make a lot of sense. Think about it. Like if you came here from another reality, okay, boom, you're at the airport, and all you gotta do, you need to be in Japan or whatever. You just get on an airplane and go there. You're right there already. You know what I mean? So it would make a lot of sense for that to be some sort of conduit to other realities, and that might also be why Preston put it on the covers of his book and then really didn't fully explain it, which I always have found kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's odd. I'm trying to get that his book cover actually pulled up here. I'm about to do that. before we go over the next target, so everybody can see what you're talking about. It looks exactly like Blucifer. It's the exact same horse, but it's just gold. So let me get this pulled up, and then we'll go to this next target that I did. I can find it. Oh, here it is.
Which basically is the target you're about to. You can pull up that book because that's the target basically.
Yeah. Okay, so this is it right here. Let me take that comment down. The Montauk experiments in time. Okay, Preston Nichols. Okay, so the next target. Some of the stuff that I wrote down. This is some of the data includes. Okay, I got to tell you, whatever this target was, it was emitting something. Okay, it was like this. I guess the horse. It was like emitting. And maybe it's because there's lightning bolts in this. Okay, it looks like lightning bolts behind it. I was picking up on directed energy weapons and stuff. So maybe that's, I guess that's what it's in that picture, I guess.
And if you look at the, and I don't know if you're able to pull it up, but the Army PsyOps division, Persuade, Influence, Change, the horse has the chess horse, which there's a name for that. I'm saying it wrong. But I don't know the names properly yet. But it has two swords with lightning bolts behind it. And yeah, so you're right. I think it could be like a directed energy thing. And that's what you picked up from your reading. So it would make a lot of sense because it's even depicted here. And it's something that I didn't even notice or ever thought about. I just thought, oh, thunderbolts to make it look cool. But no, like it's intentionally placed there probably for a reason, probably for some sort of symbology. I think you're onto something there.
Okay. All right. Well, let me go down the things that I wrote for this. I wrote telltale. I wrote tattletale. I also wrote hidden in plain sight. I wrote contact, intuitive hit, time bubble. I heard a time bubble. That sounds like something I've heard you talk about before, actually.
No, that makes sense too. Yeah, they probably have like a time bubble underneath the ground, underneath the airport, and it just makes sense too. It just resonates with me. I think anybody who's ever like even looked into the Denver airport, like everyone's like, oh, there's something real weird going on there. Like it's got to be, who knows what it is. They got some sort of underground infrastructure there, though. Well, I think we're kind of giving people a little bit of the answers of the super duper weird stuff that's going on down there. Is there some sort of time bubble where there, which by the way, to explain to people what a time bubble is, it's like what they'll do is they'll put time in this warped state where it's not still, but it's kind of like it's still, and they'll use that as a headquarters to do time operations out of. That's the best way to explain it. Yeah, that's so you have the lightning bolt symbolism again, you have the horse, you have the persuade change influence, and again, it's been a while since I read the Montauk Project book. But from what I recall, that is not in the book. Like that's he doesn't talk about the meaning of the horse, I don't think, at all. So here we go. We're finally getting into it 10 years, 15 years later, or whatever it was. It's a pretty old book at this point.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this is fascinating to me. Totally fascinating. Okay. So thank you for explaining the time bubble, because I was curious about that too. Sometimes I don't know what it is. I'm just getting information. I'm channeling it, and I don't know what it is exactly. But I do recall hearing you talk about it before. Maybe when we were at Montauk, because I actually went to Montauk, New York with you. I was there.
Yeah.
We had a trip up there.
We have to do that again. There has to be another Montauk trip in the future. That was really great.
Oh, yeah. I'm down for that. That was fun. That was last year. Okay, so I wrote down time bubble, time stand still. And then I heard, when I wrote down time stand stills, I heard while the world moves slowly. Time stands, it says, time stand stills while the world moves slowly.
So John Whitberg has explained it the best, and even he admits when he talks about it, because he's really good at explaining technical things better than I am, but even he admits, he's like, I'm not a quantum scientist, but I'll explain it the best I can, because people have asked him how the time bubble at Montauk worked. And basically he said it's like time's like frozen in the time bubble, but you're interacting with the world through the time bubble and stuff. So time is still moving, but it moves slower. Joseph Powell has also talked about that, about how the time still moves outside of, and when you're there, it's creepy because you'll go outside and you can even see like stuff frozen, like that should be moving or whatever. And I think it was like stuck like early morning or something. I can't remember exactly what time of day it was, but like it was weird because like at Montauk, if you went outside, it was always the same time of day. but it slowly did change. It just took a really long time. But yeah, it was like things were frozen. Basically, is what it felt like. And yeah, time bubbles are weird. They're really weird. I don't know how to explain them, but these time corporation programs that are like hacking reality and stuff like that, they'll build the time bubbles to stand to operate out of. Because if you're just operating out of like normal time space, that's super duper dangerous. That's like you know, like kind of like being out there with your pants down kind of thing. Like you don't want to do that.
No. Oh my gosh, no. Okay. Wow. Well, let's keep going, because that's really cool. That's really cool data right there. That totally fits up with what we're looking at here. Okay, so I wrote down darkness falls, scattered memories, scatterbrained, radiation, and emitting a signal. I wrote down. So something was emitting a signal, and I was seeing a laser, what I thought was a laser. I mean, it could just be those lightning bolts right there.
Scalar waves, and they're able to use those to communicate across realities.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I wrote laser, and then I wrote directed energy weapon. Something that was pointed, open, elimination. I wrote down Guidestone, and I wrote Georgia Guidestones, which is interesting because that's another anomaly that, you know, those just came down last year in Georgia.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
So I think that's kind of a prophetic thing where we're talking about like this, like when I'm talking about, I don't think we're going to enter this AI future anymore. I feel like in the timeline where the AI future is would happen still, those would probably still be standing, because those really were a testament to this occult force on the earth that wants to just take things over and use Earth as their plaything and treat everybody else like they don't matter. Because yeah, to the viewers, I don't know if you should explain it or I should, what the Guidestones are. They basically say you got to keep the population of the Earth less than like 6 million, something like that.
500. I want to say 500 million.
Okay. Which we got billions of people on the planet.
We have 6 billion people on the planet or more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was 500 million. I want to say 500,000, but that can't be right. That's like, not right.
A lot of people might be like, yeah, well, you know, we're also like
500,000. It may be 500,000.
Yeah. And some people actually like believe that, like, we should only have 500 million or whatever. And like, people got to realize we're the Earth. We are the Earth. Like, we just need to not have this disconnection with it and treat it bad. That's all. And then once we do that, there can be as many of us as we want. Like, that's the problem. Isn't the amount of us; it's what we're doing. Like, anyway, that's a whole other subject, though.
Okay, well, I gotta say, I was there about a couple of months before they blew up and got torn down. I was there. I don't know what kind of implications that has. Okay, but I was there because we got called in. I got called into a Bigfoot investigation at a state park in the same county where the Guidestones were, because one of the state park rangers got in touch with me and begging me to come out there because they had 9 Bigfoot sightings out there over a course of like 2 months.
Oh, that's a lot. Small amount of time.
A lot of stuff going on out there. So I took some guys and we went and scouted it out for the weekend, and we went to the Georgia Guidestones while we were there. I got some good pictures. Okay, right before it got taken down.
I mean, I personally think, you know, that's a good thing that they got taken down, because what they said on them was genocidal. Let's be real here.
It was like, be not a cancer upon the earth. Okay,
yeah,
it didn't seem that daunting. It didn't seem that terrible, but it was.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things where you can look at me and just be like, not really think about it and just go on with your life. But if you sit there and think for a second, you're like, wait, that's messed up. It's one of those things.
Okay. It was 500 million. That's it. Thank you. I appreciate that, Cryptid Search. I appreciate you. One of the inscriptions on the Georgia Guidestones is a 19-foot tall granite monument in Elberton, Georgia. Reads, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. You know, it sounds like
that's good.
That sounds like a good thing. But then you think about all the people on Earth, and that would be getting rid of like everything but like 10% of the Earth.
All we need to do is just be in balance with nature, and then it doesn't matter as much how many of us there are, considering I don't know. That's my opinion, though. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, I know. To each his own. I mean, I don't know. I just thought that it was actually a good thing that they did come down. Personally, it was not a good feeling there.
It was super weird. Yeah.
It was weird. Yeah, it definitely felt occultish.
Kind of moment, like what? That's how a lot of people felt about that. A lot of people did not like those things being there and did not feel good about them being there. So a lot of people were quite happy about it when that happened. I was.
Yeah, yeah. It was cool. You know, the people that live in Elberton actually were upset about it coming down. I know one. I have some, yes, I have friends that live there. They actually, it was a monument. So most of the people there, the people that I know from there, were like, well, it was kind of messed up because it was a vandalized monument, and they got upset about it. Okay, but the rest of the world was cheering when that happened. So we're not sure who wrote the Georgia Guidestones, though, right, Arkheim? We don't know.
It was a group. I think when they looked into it, I think. Forgive me.
Rosicrucians.
Yeah, so it's connected to the Rosicrucians, which is this weird sort of Masonic Christian kind of group, which I can't. It's hard to say if they're good or bad, but honestly, with that kind of message on the stone, I'm like their message speaks for itself, right? They seem bad to me. So some people have said they're good. I mean, I have a friend who's like read books about stuff they talk about, and it's definitely interesting stuff, but from the looks of it, for me, they're not the most positive group of people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me clarify something though, because the Guidestones were put there for if there's an apocalypse. Okay. If there's a natural disaster, that's what I was told. That if something happens and a lot of people are wiped off the face of the planet. Let's just say another flood, a meteor hits, nuclear war. I don't know. Those were going to be there to stand the test of time. They didn't stand the test of time, by the way. But they were there to be a guide. That's what they're called, Guidestones, be a guide to rebuild our civilization. And it was put there because I was told that the Native Americans, I think it's Cherokee, claim that area is the belly button of the world. It's the center of the earth right there.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I know, right? I know a little more about it than I'll let on. Okay, but I don't know. I still don't know exactly who put them there. Some people said it was Ted Turner. I don't know if that's true or not, but otherwise it's the Rosicrucians. Okay. All right. Well, I got a little bit more data on this gold horse from Preston Nichols' books. Okay, so I wrote the Georgia Guidestones. I wrote down "Come Alive," Mother Nature, and I got that it was a beacon of some sort, a beacon of truth. Okay, here's what I wrote. I wrote truth right under a beacon, and then I wrote down doomsday, because I was picking up on doomsday kind of data with the Georgia Guidestones. So I wrote doomsday, and then I heard false prophets, and that was it. And I also wrote down man-made and false as well. False man-made, false prophets is what I wrote down. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, so that makes sense because it looked like a religious monument to me. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like the people, if I remember correctly, they would like gather there, and it was like almost like a religious monument that they had. It was very strange.
Interesting. That's weird because I had written Kali, right? Kali. There's it's CERN. Isn't Kali a statue there in front of CERN? She's like the goddess of destruction. And that was in the first data, the first target for the Blucifer.
Maybe that's what Blucifer represents in a weird way is Kali. Because Kali is blue.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, there's a connection there. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I'm sure everybody. We're gonna have some detectives in the chat tonight. I bet there's gonna be somebody that hears this and can give a little more insight in it. But super interesting, right, Arkheim?
Definitely is.
Super interesting. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's talk about portals a little bit before we go tonight. We got about 10 more minutes. Like, tell me your experience with portals, okay? Because you did have me remote view. You gave me a couple of blind targets, and they were jump rooms. Right? Jump rooms to Mars, jump rooms to Venus. Y'all go back and watch those shows on my channel if you want to, in my remote viewing playlist. Fantastic show, by the way. Have you gone through a jump room before? And let's even talk about the stars in front of the buildings, okay? That indicate where the jump rooms are and the portals.
Yeah, they'll have like kind of looks like a compass in front of buildings. Which one of the most recent ones I found is Cinderella Castle, the Disney World or Disneyland. It has one of the symbols in front of it of the, and there was this government building in Malibu on Ventura Boulevard that had that symbol in front of it that I went to, where I kind of got those memories back. Then they show it in the movie Coraline, the portal on that movie. If you pay attention to the film, because there's like a portal in the living room. Well, there's that symbol in front of the portal, so it's not a coincidence that I remember this. Like, there's finding like pretty much like proof to me. And yeah, the amount of arms that it has means it shows, it depicts how many gateways there are and to where. And I know there's like more meaning as far as like what colors are used and stuff like that for the depiction. But yeah, it's like basically out in the open, hidden symbolism to like tell people like, hey, there's a portal here. And yeah, they're all over the place. Really, they're way more common than people would think they are. And there's people that walk around among us all the time that are like maybe from other realities or from the future or from the past, because there's all these different weird programs where, yeah, there it is exactly. And that's quite a bit of arms, by the way. That's one with, because sometimes they'll only have like 4 or 8, but that one has like a lot. So that is indicating that there's quite a few different gateways there to different places.
Because look where that is. Look what building that is.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind like the symbolism also of the compass, which is kind of why they use it, right? Like you're going somewhere, and also the star is a star, so it's a stargate. So there's a whole lot of reasons why they use that, and I'm the only person who's ever talked about this before, as far as I know. I'm the only person who's ever pointed this out, and yeah, and I'm sure other people are noticing it now. They're all over the place. Like they're in front of like hotels and stuff like that, and all sorts of stuff. It's a symbol that shows people they'll be able to get around, and there's certain ways to do it, like certain ways stuff you'll know. And hey, Matthew, good to see you, bud.
Hey, Matthew, I saw you. We'll see you next week or another week.
From what I recall, just like all those gods are blue. They're just blue. I don't think it's because they poison. They're just blue people.
They're blue like Smurfs. Okay.
And that's a real thing. There are humanoid beings out there that are blue, and so it's not you don't necessarily, if you're blue, it's not necessarily because you're poisoned or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, we got the Kentucky blue people too. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah. So there's just kind of evidence that that's possible. You can have blue skin. It's like not some far off.
Copper, I don't know, is there silver or copper or some kind of metal gets in your blood
or something? Yeah, it was something that they kept on consuming, and it just made them look that way, and they're like, whatever, we're fine with it, it's okay, we're blue.
Yeah, right. I mean, that goes back for at least a century or so. There's been blue families in Kentucky. Okay, so I was gonna do a show on it, and then I was like, oh, it's not a cryptid, or anything. It's just people that have a disease, a problem with their blood. So
that people are interested in, even though it's not cryptic, you can just like explain, like, it's something with a logical explanation, but it's super duper interesting, and it's kind of in the territory. I don't know. I can see why you're on the fence about it.
Yeah, Susan, this is a great comment, Arkheim. Hey, Susan, she says, thank you, Arkheim, for heads up on the arms of Shiva, that they're potential portals and pathways.
Yeah, another interesting thing you bring that up. I'll alter out and talk in this other language, like this light language sometimes, and I talk about like all those Hindu gods and stuff all the time. Like I'll say their names. I don't really know what's going on with that, but there's a deep connection to me in these Hindu gods and stuff. So it was silver. They're consuming silver. Yeah, he's right. Nathan's right. It was silver that they're consuming.
I do like to take colloidal silver sometimes. That does help with colds and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
just don't take too much.
Yeah, I think they just went a little overboard.
Yeah, totally. It was in their water source, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. So the stars are on. Those are like nautical stars, kind of, and they're in front of the Hilton hotels, where we hear there's some jump rooms and stuff. The lobby of the CIA in different hotels,
Yeah, and there's also just stuff like this might sound weird to people, but like when you walk into a hotel, the carpet, there's certain stuff indicates certain things to certain people, like people that are time travelers or parallel reality jumpers. They call them jumpers or whatever it is. And so like a certain colored floor will indicate something, or a certain pattern, or what colors the walls are painted. Like if you go into the bathroom, that's another thing. What color the bathroom's painted, what colors the stalls are, like the way that they choose the decor, and some of the stuff that you think is mundane, like maybe like a weird pattern on a wall or something like that, like a jazzy pattern or whatever on the carpet. It might actually have meaning. Like it might actually have like a hidden meaning to a time traveler or a jumper, a reality jumper that is using the hotel as a conduit. And I know from personal experience, I've got taken from I was. This is one of the most conscious experiences I've. In fact, it is the most conscious experience I've ever had in these programs. I got taken from my room at the Swiss Hotel in Chicago to another room and like taken to another reality through a portal that they had there. So that's like confirmation, like that this is happening. Like there are portals to alternate realities. Like I have literally stepped through them, and I know this. Like I was on Maldek in what was an alternate reality, because here Maldek is the asteroid belt and it doesn't exist here anymore. But in this other reality, it still existed, and I was on a Zeppelin, and I was like a really polluted planet, and all the rich people lived in Zeppelins. They lived in like airships and like hung out in the sky. Like had this weird. Yeah, it was like
we've got to talk about airships. I want you to come back on my show. One of my shows, we got to talk about airships, because that is something that's been hidden from us too. That's part of our hidden history. Where all the airships, a lot of the old pictures from the 1800s, early 1900s, mostly 1800s, have been whitewashed, and the airships have been taken out of all the pictures for some reason.
Yeah, that's crazy. See, I didn't even know about that. That's like kind of like the Tartaria stuff, which a lot of people they see, because some of the Tartaria people are into flat Earth, and so they like don't pay attention to it. That's a psyop. Like the Tartaria stuff is super important and interesting and fascinating, and I highly recommend people look into it. But no, the Earth isn't flat. People just come to the wrong conclusions because of the research they do. They're not looking at the big picture. But that's just my opinion on it myself. Like, not to offend any people who do believe the Earth is flat. I know those people are out there, but it's not. That's just, I've experienced, and from what I've seen, it's not. So that's just my testimony. But
yeah, I listen. The only time I've ever talked about flat Earth, I did a show where we were just kind of, putting it out there, but we weren't saying like what we believe. I personally believe the Earth is round. Okay, I do. But let me tell you, that is the biggest. If you want to get in an argument with somebody, or you want to start an argument online, bring up flat Earth. Okay.
There's it's an interesting conversation, but at the end of the day, if you can't look at the facts, it's kind of hard to have a conversation with somebody about it. And I think Tyler Koala of Journey to Truth actually said it best, has like his opinion on it, because people would always ask him about it. It's like, well, if you believe the Earth is flat, then that because people talk about going to 4D and 5D and stuff. He's like, well, if you believe the Earth is flat, that's going to bring you down into a lower vibration. But if you believe like this round and you know what I mean? Like he kind of believes, and I do too, that like it's kind of like a psyop to like bring us lower and make us like have a lesser understanding of the universe. But again, I don't mean to ruffle feathers. People have their opinions, and I try to respect that. But from my experience, that's what I believe, and that's what I know from what I know. So yeah, not everything's Tartaria in the old world topic. You're right. Tartar, I think it was Tartaria or Tartar or whatever. The Tartar Empire. It was just part of the old world, and it wasn't the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, I want you to come back on. We're going to talk about airships next time you come on, okay? And maybe we could even do I can get some remote viewing targets one day, hint, hint, of some airship stuff. You know what I mean? But this is, yeah. I mean, this is it's all just fantastic, and it's incredible. And I love talking with you and bringing you on my show as our team. So you have an open invite.
It's always a blast. It's always great talking with you, Jessica. You can have a show anytime.
Thank you. Okay, well, unfortunately, we've run out of time today. I know Tim Mothman said that we need to do a 3-hour show right now, and he told me to go get my coffee, is what he just said.
Okay, yeah. So,
But unfortunately, we can't do 3 hours tonight. But I do want you to tell the audience where they can find your YouTube channel and your book.
yeah, it's disclosure now with an exclamation point. At disclosure known as the like hashtag or whatever, I don't know what you call it. Like, and I also have a new channel called New Earth Light Brigade with Audrey Walters, which is also on YouTube. So check that out. And then yeah, my book is available on Amazon. You can pre-order the Kindle edition already, and the link is in the video, I'm pretty sure. But also the hard copy, or it's paperback, but the physical edition of the book will be available on July 13th, and I will have 50 copies with me at the Full Disclosure Now conference, which I will be able to sign for people. And give you a personalized copy for those of you who will be at the conference. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to presenting kind of like my book and what it's about, and explain what's going on with this stuff. And I'm hoping that this book kind of makes an impact and gets around. And I know there's a lot of books coming out right now, and I think that's great, because like a lot of us are talking about like the same information but just in different ways, which is opening up so many people's eyes in different places. And now I'm just waiting for like everybody to be like, wait, we're all talking about the same thing. Whoa, I'm like, come together. That's all I'm waiting for. But yeah, it's a fascinating time to be alive, and I'm super excited, and I can't wait to see you at the conference, Jessica.
Oh, I can't wait to see you too. And and that is what we're doing. I've got the cryptid background and remote viewing background. I've been hanging out with all the SSP folks and stuff, and we got the UFO folks we're going to be hanging out with too. I mean, I'm a UFO person too, by the way.
The local UFO people are like, some of them are going to be at the conference, and we're going to do like sky watches and stuff like that with them. I think I heard. So that's really cool. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yes, and I just put the link in the chat. I don't know if it showed up in there because my computer just went haywire over here. But I tried to put your link in the chat, I do believe, for your book. So you guys go, and it's in the description box below the video tonight. Okay, so everybody, please go get a copy of Arkheim's book, and go subscribe to Disclosure Now, exclamation point. Get his book. Arkheim, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Of course, of course. And tell Kat I said hello. Give her my love. Okay. I'll see y'all in about a week and a half. Okay.
I can't wait.
Right. Okay. See you, Arkheim. Thanks. All right, y'all. Man, that was a fantastic show. We could have gone 3 hours. We could. Arkheim is a good friend of mine, and we have a lot to talk about. He gives me fantastic remote viewing targets, y'all. So please go look in my history, my playlist over on my channel, The Cryptid Huntress, on YouTube, and look up remote viewing investigations. They're all there. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night. I hope you guys will come see me next week, this coming week, on my channel, The Cryptid Hunters. I have live shows Wednesday and Thursday and Saturday night. And then I'm going to be heading out to Florida. So I will not be here next Sunday, but I will be back. I'll be back eventually over here at Spaced Out Radio. But please come see me over there on my channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. Stay safe out there, y'all. Lock your doors and come back and see me. Bye, y'all.